like not a thing that is always, 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 always profitable, right? It is a tool. And so sometimes things go up and they go down. And so what I'm pulling up here is the Sharp Report tracker. Okay. What we've done, and Anthony is awesome at this, is he has tracked the Sharp Report for the past 3 years. Okay. To find what sports are the most profitable for every single month, right? In each part of the Sharp Report. And so we're going to kind of go back and forth here, right? When we talk about these things. Also, Joe, you're right. I just saw that on the wrong side of 49, right? Which we know is a super key number, especially in college football. Illinois' offense is. I'm from the Chicagoland area, so I've watched Illinois football for my entire life. This is the first time in 20 years we've had a competent offense, so it's a lot of fun to see that. But 49, 7 touchdowns, right? There's that math. And so now it's on the opposite side of that. And that movement happened literally today. And so obviously that line changed. So let's go kind of through this part. So we're going to start in 2022. If this is 2 years ago, right? So this data really, really doesn't matter. All that really matters is that the Sharps in 2022 made 40 units on the year. That's what we're seeing right here, right? They made, I don't know if you can see. It might be a little cut off. I can move over. Oh, there we go. Okay. They made 40 units on the year, right? That 40.186. That's what we're looking at, okay? Kind of a modest year, right? You don't look at that and you think like, wow, that's absolutely insane. It will be in a second, okay? But you can see sports that they were not good at. They did not do well in college basketball, and they did not do well in the MLB. Those are kind of two areas that they really struggled in. That was 2 years ago. Let's go to 2023, okay? That looks a little more green, right? So all of a sudden it switches. All of a sudden they're really good at college basketball and they profit in the MLB, but they lost money in the NFL and they lost money on hockey. They lost a lot of money on hockey, right? Last year. So it does change year to year, right? So to me, there's not really any sort of like, you have to follow the Sharps in the MLB every single year. No, right? Because we've seen that doesn't turn a profit. What does turn a profit is the Sharps as a whole, right? They were up 57 units last year. That's awesome, right? That's pretty good. Let's go to this year. We look in 2024. The Sharps are having the best year they have ever had. They're up almost 100 units on the year. Okay, so if you followed every single play on the Sharp Report, every single one in the Sharp column, you would be up 93 units this year. There's really nothing else to say, right? They've had 2 negative months the entire year. Yep. Well, and we saw that with the MLB, right? Like last year in the MLB, the Sharps lost. Oh, I'm on the book right now. The Sharps lost, or they gained 3 units. Woo! Right? No, nothing really to like, write home about. MLB this year they gained 51. That for one sport, that's really, really good, right? And as you can see, there's 2 areas that they've really struggled in this year. That's football. It's football, 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 right? They've struggled. And, so is that me telling you they're going to struggle all year? I don't know, right? Anthony doesn't know. Schwami doesn't know. We don't know, right? But you can at least see the trend, right? Now, am I telling you to fade every single like sharp this in football for the rest of the year? Absolutely not, because they are more than likely to turn a profit, right? To me, yeah. No, go. No. Yeah. Yep. For sure. And like I let's see. There's more disagreement on the NFL than I can ever remember. The NFL has been wackadoodle doo. Then that is just the truth. Like this, I've talked about this before in my chat, but there's no parity in the NFL anymore. Like very rarely are teams separated by more than 5.5 points. And we've talked about this before, but like, there we go. If if a team is that favored, like what is that saying, right? And we can talk about more of that more a little bit later. But right now, the Sharps are up 93 units this year. That's pretty darn good. Let's move on to the middle column, which is the sportsbook liabilities. Um, Schwami, do you want to take this or do you want me to take this? I'm fine doing it. Okay, cool. So essentially, the sports book needs these plays to happen. Okay. These are the plays that they want to happen in order for them to make a profit. It is my favorite section to tail, or to fade, 100%. It is my favorite. I think it's the most consistent part of the Sharp Report. And it is, to me, the part of the Sharp Report that has consistently not brought in profit. That means that everything that you see in this column, so in the MLB, Cleveland tomorrow, right? In the NBA, Sacramento +2, Detroit +3.5. We want to play the opposite of those, right? So if you were consistently betting on these liabilities, or for those things not to happen, right? You would play the Tigers tomorrow, right? This is percentages, money percentages that Anthony gets from the book. That's where this data is coming from, right? And so this is exactly where my play of the day comes from, right? In UNLV, because the book needs Utah State, right? So we're gonna play the opposite of that, right? And to me, it's the most consistent, and we'll kind of talk about what or why that is, right? So going all the way back to 2022, the book lost 137 units. Not great. Let's go here. Oh, that was at 23. Oh, that was 23. We can go back to 22. 22, they lost 154. Sorry, my bad. 22, they lost 154 units, right? So if you played the opposite of that, simple math, right, tells you that you would, and maybe numbers might be a little bit off based on, juice, right? But 100, you'd be up 154 units 2022. 2023, you'd be up 137 units if you faded the book. 2024, this year, you'd be up, what does that say? 86 units on the year. Like, they are having a great year. And they've had a great year each of the past 3 years. This year, there's only been 2 months that the book has been more right than wrong. We just happen to be in the middle of one, right? And so, to me, it is the most consistent part of the Sharp Report. I think that, there's a bunch of different ways to use the Sharp Report that we can talk about, but one of them is to play it religiously. And I'm not saying that you have to play or fade the book religiously, but gosh darn, you would be up quite a bit if you did. We'll get to the whale. We'll get to the whale. Oh, we'll get to the whale. We'll get to the whale. For sure. And like I said earlier, it's a tool, right? At the end of the day, guys, it is a tool. I listen, every single day from here on out, the book could make money. Like the book plays could make money. I don't know when that's going to change, right? But if I use history as a kind of a motivator here for my like betting strategies, history tells me that we're going to get some regression back in our favor, right? We're going to build on the negatives that we have seen. Okay. And then finally, let's get into the squares. So the squares are that left or that right column, right? Where you see LA Dodgers, Detroit tomorrow, Golden State, all these. Orange just means that a play is today. Okay. That's all that means, is that a play is happening today. All right. And we do that specifically in college football because college football spans from Tuesdays until Saturdays. So sometimes it's a little bit hard to keep track of when those are happening. The squares are the public. That's all it is, right? The squares are the public, and they are who the public is backing, and that's based on percentages, right? It's based on money percentages. What's up, All-American? Welcome. Oh, Tony, your question about where the Sharp Report is posted in the app. Right now, we are overhauling the app system. So it's actually not as consistently posted in the app as we're like used to. The best place, there's two places. The best place is either the Sharp Report channel or the models channel in the Discord. That's the most consistent place to kind of find where the Sharp Report is on a day-to-day basis. Anthony, yep, yep, yep. And it's hard to keep up with, obviously, in the app. I know that the app is super like easy to use, and so it's an easy place to find it. But right now, while we're overhauling our website and kind of in the app, just use the Discord ones. So if there's a crossed out sharp play, that doesn't mean it's no longer a play. It just means one sharp is off, but two others are on it. So let's actually talk about that really quick. So something that we've added in 2024, I know that it says 2022 up here. That's not true. It's 2024. It says right here. Yay, right there. So we see down here, there's no log for crossed off sharps. To me, it's no longer a play, but I will also tell you this. I never cash out. I'm super like stringent when it comes to that. I just don't. I don't cash out of plays, and so I would keep playing it. Like if that's what you do, I would stick with it. If you can get a good number at a cash out, if you'd like to do that, you can. It's totally up to you. But I don't have any necessary data necessarily to show whether those are profitable or not, or if they still stay profitable or not. And that's the same thing with like, if you're like, oh, well, the sharps got this line, should I still play it at this line? Pretty much yes, right? Like that would be my advice, at least. You can do whatever you want, but if it's a point or two or a point and a half off, I would still play that if you're staying consistent with that. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and something I kind of glossed over and that I can go back to is the mega sharp. So a mega sharp play is any time that there's four or more sharps on one play. These are consistently profitable, right? This year they're up 22 units. Even if you played the crossed off mega sharps, which I can show you here in a second, you'd still be up 10 units, right? Like those are very, very profitable. I don't know if you can see the bottom of my screen. Oh, you can. Like Florida International was crossed off. They profited a couple days ago. Memphis is crossed off as a mega sharp play. I already played it. It's one of my official bets. Is Memphis tomorrow? Is Memphis -7? I love that play. I love the situation there. But one of the reasons why I played it is because it's a mega sharp, And even if it's crossed off or not, we've seen that they are profitable, right? There's only been 2 months this year that it's not been profitable. And you're looking at it and you're like, okay, well, they're only up 2 units, they're only up 1 unit. These are very rare plays, right? Like these are incredibly rare. Do not just play whatever I tell you to play. That is a lie. Scott, no, that's not true. It's just not. But essentially, I always play Mega Sharps. Whether I always play them, whether I post it or not, I always play it. Just because these are highly selective plays that have shown profit over the course of the year. But going back to the squares, okay? And then I want to save time for your guys' questions for this upcoming slate, so we can kind of get into it. The squares down 112 units in 2022. Remember, these are public-sided bets. The public is dumb. They just are. They are very rarely on the winning side of plays. Okay, that is how sportsbooks stay in business. Is they breed off stupidity, right? And so it's important to understand kind of where these square plays are. Now, will I do a square play every once in a while? Sure. Right? Because it's a play that I'm on, and there's maybe a reason why the entire public is on it, right? And the public is quote unquote sharper than ever, right? Well, okay, that's fair. But I do think the Bears win this weekend. I do. Anyway, but it's a tool, right? And so sometimes I play square plays. Does that mean I'm a square? Maybe it does. Right? Maybe it does. But in 2022, they lost 112 units. In 2023, they lost 83 units. In 2024, they're down 49 units. So once again, I'm showing you oh, sorry, you guys couldn't see that. I'm showing you a part of the Sharp report that is consistently not profitable. So what do we want to do? Play the other side, right? We want to make sure that, yeah, for sure. So can you clarify fade plays again? It would seem that Houston is the square play, so New England is a play as it's fade in the public. Correct. Sorry, that fade is a weird word in sports betting. So I use it as play the opposite of. Some people use that as don't use it at all or don't play it at all, right? That's just how I'm using that word. I would play the opposite of that play. Pass on bets to the sportbook plays then. Yeah, exactly. So, for sure. True. So, okay, should we pass on it? That's it's a tool. And so if it's a play that you really like, stick with it, right? I personally would, and this is just my methodology, it's a red flag, right? And this is just personally how I do it. If I have a play and it's on the square side of things, I stick with it. If it's on the book liabilities, that's maybe where I would jump off of it. Does that make sense? And that's just me personally. I'm not one to really tout I think the public is really smart, because they're not, right? But that's just how I use this tool, if that makes sense. Exactly, like UNLV. I'm super high on UNLV today. That is also a square play, and that's fine. Yep, for sure. And so we're seeing up here, right? There was a point earlier today in an earlier Sharp report where both the LA Dodgers were on the sports liabilities and on the squares. To me, that's an auto fade. Now, or auto play the opposite of. They got removed. I didn't post that play, right? It's also because I have a Padres future. Go Fathers tonight. Go Fathers. But that's essentially a good indicator as well. If a play is on both sides, if both on the squares and the liabilities, to me that's an auto play. Yeah, exactly. The Bears are another example, right? Does that mean I'm a square? Maybe it does. Maybe that's just where I'm getting all of my methodology from, for sure. But I do happen to just be on both of those for sure. True. Right, and you'll notice where the sharp got that line, right? The sharp got, or the two sharps got that as a pick'em, right? So at Penny or Circa or wherever they're betting, right? They got that as or another book. They got that as a pick'em. That line is moved to -2. The public hopped on it when it was at -2. Yeah, for sure. And so last two parts, and then we'll kind of get into your guys' questions for this upcoming slate. So we have the whale. The whale is a sports bettor that is, people have theorized and literally DM'd me, are you the whale? No, I am not the whale. I am not the whale. I do not have the whale's money. Let's be very clear here. I would not be putting $35,000 on a play. But the whale is a sports bettor that is considered a sharp, I guess you could say, and spends a lot of money on these plays. So you're seeing down at the bottom there, right? He's on the Dodgers, Utah State. I hope he loses. Arizona State tonight, and the Blues. The whale has been consistently profitable. And we'll kind of go through really, really quickly how the whale has done. So in 2022, the whale was up, or the whale was down. We only started tracking the whale. Well, let's not count 2022. In 2023, the whale was up 908 units. Now you're thinking to yourself, holy crap, 900 units. But he's playing at 35 units a go, right? Like that's his kind of play style is, way back when Anthony started doing this, we just assumed that 1K was a unit, right? And that's how it got logged, right? So when you're looking at this Sharp Report tracker and you see 908 units, he's up 908 units essentially on the year. But that comes at like a 35 unit clip or a 30 unit clip per play. You know, they're probably closer to the whale, right? Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So in 2023, the whale was up 908 units, right? I forgot to mention last year, over 2 months, over in November and December, Mega Sharps were up 32 units. That's pretty good. This year, the whale has been hot and then not so hot. So he's up 1,000 units on the year. I mean, that's just crazy. Last month was a bad month for him. He's having a pretty good month this year. Actually, not as good as his previous months had been, but the whale is up and down. If you are a more consistent person in our Sharp Discord, you will see that the whale is the most bitched about person in the entirety of the Sharp Report channel. He's bitched about every time. I mean, and no matter what, if you fade him, the whale will win. If you tail him, the whale will lose. And that's not actually true, but sometimes that's how it feels. He is just another resource, right? I know there are people that consistently tail the whale because the whale is consistently profitable every year. I personally don't, but there are a lot of people that do, and they do really well, and then they bitch about it when he doesn't do well. But that's the whale, and that's just the whale, you know? The last one that I'll talk about is the best model plays. So if we go here, you see the best model best values. You see in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see Maryland, UNLV, and Arizona State. Those are based off of Anthony's model. Okay, so Anthony has models for pretty much every single sport. What he does is when he finds an edge on those, he puts the best model plays in the bottom right hand corner of the Sharp Report. And so if we look at how the best model plays have done, This is we'll just go 2023. The best model values are down 21 units last year. The only sport that it was profitable in was in the NFL. This year, the best model places up 11 units. Okay. Like I said, it's just another tool, right? It's just another tool that you know you guys can use. That you guys can use if you are looking to profit, right? Just another tool. I like it. I use Anthony's model. Not religiously, but it is a. I was explaining this to someone in DMs earlier. It is a second or third stop for me, right? So I'll have a play that I really like, right, or that I find value in using my own metrics. I'll go to Anthony's model, see if Anthony's model agrees. That's the case with UNLV, right? And so it's one of the reasons why I know earlier in my chat or in the Sharp Report chat, we were talking about Arizona State. Arizona State's a best model play tonight as well. And so that's just another tool. Those are the 5 sections of the Sharp Report. Okay. It is a massive tool. It is a tool that to me is the most consistent. We have aligned data on this tool for every single part, right? And so what I would love to do now is kind of go into what are your guys' questions? So whether it be tonight's college football slate, which is juicy. It is low-key juicy. Tonight's slate is. Maryland is a trash bucket. They should be relegated to the Conference USA. They're favored by 10 against Northwestern. Also trash buckets. You got UNLV and Utah State. The whale is on Utah State. I am going against the whale tonight. And then you have ASU and the Cam Rising led Utah Utes. That's as far as college football goes tonight. And then obviously massive slate tomorrow in college football. You can kind of see where the sharps and squares and sportsbook liabilities align there. I keep doing that. There we go. All right, what questions you guys have about college football or about the NFL? Go Bears. We do have NBA preseason. Oh my God. Yeah. Orange Crush. I'll tell you a little anecdote. Back in July, I grabbed Padres World Series at plus 3,500. Tonight it is that bet is one of the bets I think that's going to determine my happiness for the rest of the MLB playoffs. Is you grab Mets at 8. I mean, that's crazy. Good work. Good work on that. I hope you don't win so that I win. But if that hits, congrats. That's awesome. That is awesome. I have Padres and I have Guardians. Those were my 2 kind of World Series plays that I grabbed back in July. I grabbed, Padres at plus 4,500, and I think Padres at plus 13. I can't remember. Maybe it's 3,500. I can't really remember what it is. What questions you guys have? If you want to come talk with us, I can open that up for you as well. All you have to do is request it. You can come talk BS with us. Tell me how bad I am. And how? Yeah, for sure. And if not, go for it. No, you go. I do too. The Giants are a play that I hope gets back up to 4, but if it stays at 3.5, that's probably something that I'll grab and something that I'll jump on, even though it's a sportsbook liability. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there reasoning behind the bets? That's a great question. So I don't have reasoning behind the bets that you see on the screen. Those just come from essentially a data pool that Anthony is sent, right? He is sent this data, right, from an offshore sports book, and that's all that we get. Now, for coaches, we normally will put some sort of rationale in our chats, or we'll talk about it in the Sharp Report channel in our Discord, which today was popping, by the way. Good work, everyone. And that's kind of where that comes from. But there's not necessarily any indication as to why the Sharps are on Cornell tonight, right? Which they are. That's not in orange, but I think the Cornell game is tonight. Yeah. Any other questions before we shut this down, my friends? Okay. If you do, obviously my DMs are open, Schwami's DMs are open. We both have channels in the Sharp App Discord as well, to come and talk, about what our plays are tonight and tomorrow. We appreciate you all coming in here. And remember, if you need Sharp Pro, shoot us a DM, and we have a code for you guys. So to make sure that you guys get all the information that you guys need in order to make the rest of this year profitable. Okay? But thanks for being here, guys, and we'll see you next week. We're going to be doing Sharp AI and money handles. Literally my favorite. The Sharp money handles are my favorite. I love them. They're so consistently good, especially in the NBA, and we'll talk about that next week. We'll probably also dive into the Proptimizer a little bit next week too. All right. Thanks, Schwami. Appreciate you. Yep. Bye, y'all. Have a good one.